Before the stadium tours, before Levels and Wake Me Up became generational anthems, there was Tim Bergling, a quiet, introspective kid from Stockholm who never wanted the spotlight. Today, we dive into the untold early story of Avicii, one of the most influential producers of the 21st century, and how his rise to fame was faster and more fragile than anyone imagined. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories about artists before the fame. Let's begin. Tim Bergling was born on September 8, 1989 in Stockholm, Sweden. His father, Claes Bergling, was a successful executive. His mother, Anki Liden, was a well-known actress in Swedish film and TV. But despite his family's creative background, Tim was a shy, socially anxious child who often preferred being alone. What's not widely known is that as a kid, Tim struggled with severe acne and self-image issues, which made him deeply insecure. He spent most of his teenage years isolated in his room, playing video games and exploring music production software like FL Studio.
Hi, I'm Tim Berg, and we're relaxing here in my apartment in Stockholm. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how everything is going. I started out with FL Studio maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and basically I just did a few. I started out because I wanted to do a remix of Candy Crush 400.
At first, he just made remixes of songs he liked. No vocals, no audience, just loops, just sound. It was his escape. By 16, he had already chosen his path, not because he wanted fame, but because producing music helped him feel in control of something in a world that felt overwhelming. Most people think Avicii was discovered by some music exec. But the real story starts with laid-back Luke's online production forum. Tim would upload tracks under the name Tim Berg and get feedback from bedroom producers all over the world. That feedback loop became his school. In 2008, he entered a remix contest hosted by Pete Tong's label and submitted a track under the name Avicii, which was actually a misspelled version of Avicii, a level of hell in Buddhist cosmology. He added the extra I because the original spelling was already taken on MySpace. His early manager, Ash Pornouri, discovered him not from a live gig, but through a blog. Ash messaged him cold and offered to mentor him, something unheard of at the time for a kid who had never even played a live show. Together, they worked non-stop, pushing Tim to learn branding, touring, contracts, while still sleeping on his couch and producing from a basic laptop. Before Levels changed everything in 2011, Tim had already released multiple tracks under various aliases, including Seek Bromance in 2010, which quietly gained traction across Europe. But here's the thing most people miss. Tim was producing 5 to 7 tracks a week, uploading demos to obscure forums, hustling for blog placements, and responding to hundreds of emails personally. This was years before streaming blew up. He was building a digital grassroots following, track by track, fan by fan. Even as his career gained traction, Tim was still unsure about performing live. He had social anxiety and hated being the center of attention. He wasn't chasing the DJ lifestyle, it was chasing him.
I think I have like 11 tracks coming out. So
Really?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have names yet for them?
I do, yeah.
Can you share them with us?
Everyone, no,
No, it's just
the closest ones are Penguin. Blast just got released, and then we have Levels.
In 2011, Tim released Levels, a song built around a gospel vocal sample of Etta James' Something's Got a Hold on Me. It exploded. Suddenly, this shy kid from Stockholm was headlining festivals, from Ultra Music Festival to Tomorrowland, sometimes performing in front of 80,000 people, despite never wanting to be on a stage. But what's rarely discussed is that even during this rise, Tim was physically and emotionally drained. He was performing nearly 300 shows a year, with zero privacy, barely any sleep, and growing dependence on alcohol to cope with anxiety. The touring wasn't just exhausting, it was breaking him. Tim suffered from acute pancreatitis by age 21, a condition typically found in heavy drinkers decades older. He was hospitalized multiple times, often performing shows just days after being released. After his emergency gallbladder and appendix removal in 2014, he was back to touring within 2 weeks, even though doctors warned against it.
I've never felt this good before, which is kind of cool, going from being, normal. To me, it feels like going from being normal to being like very, down because of all the work. It's so much workload, And so many trips to the hospital and back and forth. There was so much going on at the same time.
The industry kept pushing, and Tim, driven by guilt, pressure, and his own perfectionism, kept going. He once said in an interview, "I was never meant for the touring life. I'm just a studio rat."
Because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing nowadays is so acoustic-based.
In 2016, at just 26, Avicii shocked fans by announcing he was retiring from touring. But it wasn't about ego, it was about self-preservation. He returned to doing what he loved, producing quietly, working on music without the pressure of shows, lights, and headlines. He traveled, reconnected with nature, and began exploring spiritual and philosophical ideas, looking for meaning in life beyond fame. Though he passed away tragically in 2018, his early journey remains a powerful reminder that genius doesn't always want a spotlight, and that sometimes the climb to fame can cost more than it's worth.